Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of our online interview series. And we want to talk today to Heliostar Metals, and Charles Funk, the CEO, is here with us because we need an update. Charles, good morning to Canada. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot happening, so it's a perfect time.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, well, it's everything is covered here with paper. I mean, that's only for 2 days. So, I mean, yesterday you had great news. Today you had great news. That is outstanding. Unfortunately, the market is still weak, but I mean, important is to show that you are working and you really get positive results. Let's start with the news from yesterday. You drilled 33 meters with 16.4 grams gold and 9.5 meters with over 25 grams gold. And that is at Ana Paula, and you are expanding your high-grade panel. So I think that's a big move for you, right?
Yeah, we've now got over 280 meters length in that high grade panel. And at those grades, you can fit a lot of ounces in that space. So we always thought we could lift the grades potentially and grow up plunge and down plunge in that panel. And
Mhm.
the results through the summer and now these results, I think, give us a lot of confidence that yes, we're going to have a materially higher resource in November.
Aha, so November you will do a new resource estimate.
Correct. So the plan was for the
Yeah.
rescope to do a series of infill drill holes where it wasn't well constrained. As for
Mhm.
listeners who haven't followed, we bought a project that was open pit focus, and we believe the high grade underground, as you well know. And so tighter infill drilling to show more continuity, then add ounces up plunge, add ounces down plunge, and fortunately for us, we've made every post a winner so far.
Okay, super. I mean, those grades are fantastic, even if you talk, of course, about underground. But at what depths have you found those grades now? The high grade panel is approximately what depths?
That's what's incredible. It starts from just below surface to only about
Oops.
250 meters below surface. So it's
Uh,
a rare project that the underground scenario is lower capex than an open pit because there's already a 400-meter decline. So we can get in and mine very high grades very early at Ana Paula, and you don't need a lot of development to access a lot of ounces. It ticks a couple of really key profitability boxes for an underground mine.
So that would mean that you could rather develop that much faster than thought?
Definitely. So one of the things that I am most excited about Ana Paula is not just these exceptional grades and widths, but it's the speed at which Ana Paula can go to production. We're targeting a production decision at the end of next year, commercial production in 2026. I don't know the gold project in Mexico that can move that quickly. And that's a function of how much work's been done on it, having the open pit permit in hand. We've got a lot of advantages at Ana Paula.
Okay, you just said 280-meter strike lengths. That sounds not that much by now, but where do you see the whole strike lengths? Where do you see, let's say, with further drilling and also with the historical drilling, where do you see then the strike moving?
Yeah, so there's a giant sea of low grade material in Ana Paula, and within that, the high grade panel is now 280 meters long by 100
Mhm,
meters tall, but 60
mhm.
meters wide. This is an extremely wide zone. And so
Yeah.
at these grades, you can actually put a lot of ounces in that space. You don't need a huge amount to add a lot. We still think there's room to grow this. We'll have a resource update as we touched on in November. Beyond that, there's probably another couple of 100,000 ounces just of systematic infill drilling that we'll bring in. And then we can start to talk about some of these growth targets that show there's even more to come. So I'm careful in that there is a resource that's a big open pit resource. We're focused on high grade underground mineable material. And I think there's a lot of that we can grow as well. Ana Paula can become a very big deposit in our opinion.
Okay, so you said you focus on the underground high grade, of course, as a starter, but would that also mean that maybe in the future that you say, oh, you know what, that all worked so well, we still do also the open pit afterwards or in addition?
In the
Would
long
that make
run,
sense?
in the long
Yeah,
run, that's a possibility, yes.
yeah.
The reason we've gone underground as a focus is because instead of mining sort of, zero point 0.3 to 1 gram early in the mine life, we can maybe mine 8 grams early. And that has a
Hmm.
massive impact for the economics. I touched on it's a lower capex, it's a smaller mill size, less development cost. So our view of going underground is that we bring a lot more profitability forward in the mine plan, making it a much more valuable project. So
Hmm.
that's what we're initially focused on. I think we'll find a
Hmm.
lot more high grade underground mineable ounces, But you're right, there's nothing stopping in the long term potentially someone pulling out the low grade halo once all that capital's invested.
Yeah, and I could imagine also that the gold price is not staying at 1920, right?
Yeah, exactly. One of the absolutely. One of the nice things about Ana Paula is it's very insensitive to gold price. Even if it's $1,500, this high grade can make a lot of money. But you're right. We're in an environment that's supportive of gold prices over the long term, and that means that you can look at taking those lower grades late in a mine life, as always happens in every project.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, so you brought out, let's move to today's news because I think that is really interesting. We were just talking about that high grade panel, and now it looks like that you have growth targets on a parallel panel. So you want to duplicate or replicate what you already found?
Yeah, I actually feel a little. I'm excited about today because I've almost been a bit metronomic as a CEO and saying we've got a rescope to deliver. We think we can grow the resource. We think we can bring ounces forward in the mine life. We've got metallurgical work coming at the end of this month. They're the three catalysts, and I've said it over and over again. What's exciting about today is we're presenting something new that we haven't presented to investors before. And yeah, we've found, I haven't called it a discovery because it's within a resource, but it's a legitimately new discovery of a parallel panel only 50 meters north of the high grade panel. The reason it wasn't recognized, and we only started picking it up about 4 or 5 weeks ago, was that the holes aren't well oriented. It's an east-west structure, and all the holes are either vertical or east-west. So they either drill right into it and get 50 to 90 meter runs at 5 to 7 grams, or they miss it. Whereas we had the good fortune, or maybe our understandings evolved a little, and all our drill holes were from south to north or north to south. And they started connecting it. And as we run those holes through the high grade panel to the north, we started consistently hitting this new zone, 36 meters at 6 grams, 5 meters at 10 grams, 2 meters at 14 grams. And then we sort of spin the model around and we just bang, they all light up. Here's another parallel panel. So we see 100 to 300,000 ounces at 5 to 10 grams once this is all drilled off. So it's a pretty exciting addition given how close it is.
Oh, that's a beautiful add-on, I would say.
Yeah.
Super. Also, I saw in your news that, hang on, where is it here? Yeah, the new West Breccia target with gold mineralization and Pathfinder element signature is as strong as the high-grade panel. Is that something, of course, you have to drill still, but would that mean that is like the next high-grade panel?
So that's the potential. So we've always liked the growth potential. The two closest deposits to us are very big. If you look at their mine history, resources, reserves, they're probably roughly 15 and 20 million ounce deposits in Torex's Morelos complex and Equinox's Los Feliz. So we're in a part of the world that creates very big ore bodies. And we've been very focused on a very small part of it. And now we can look out and expand. The parallel panel, a new breccia target to the west. The resource is open. The decline was going in because the expansion zone deeper. It's got holes in it like 40 meters at 6 grams, and it's open to expand. So, and then San Luis, we mentioned another really nice target to the east. There's a whole pipeline of growth targets above and beyond the high grade panel that who knows how big we can ultimately grow Ana Paula. But I think we can demonstrate for the first time to the market that there's a lot more here than just the high grade panel.
Okay, super. So there's a lot of room for growth and many more ounces.
Yeah, and we've been very disciplined and sort of focused on the panel.
Yeah.
Now it's great to start to show people, hang on, this could become something quite special.
Okay, super. Also, I saw you are drilling to test new targets commencing in September. Now it is September. You started already with the drilling?
So yes. So what we've had is a rig focused on the resource geotech drilling, the network drilling. So it was a large diameter rig. It was a larger drill rig. We're just swapping that out right now for a slightly smaller, more nimble drill rig, and then we'll start drilling initially at the parallel panel and then move it over to West Breccia. How big that program becomes is a function of the results that we get, but we've reached the resource cutoff date for the results that will feed the resource update. So now let's take some swings for the fences and look to grow on some of these growth targets.
Okay, super. So also a lot of room for positive surprises in the next months.
Yeah, I think we'll be pretty, we'll have more results from the last results that'll feed the resource late this month. We'll have the network at the very beginning of October. We expect to have our first exploration results by late October. We expect to have the resource update out in November. We've got a lot of catalysts coming over the next few months.
Yeah,
The,
it does.
the,
Yeah.
the project's going incredibly well from my perspective. I was down at site a couple of weeks ago. It's
Yeah.
amazing to think that an investor in this market can, we made a lot of promises on what we thought was possible when we bought Ana Paula. We've delivered on the vast majority, nearly all of those, and you can buy it for only a couple of pennies more today. So the market's giving a huge opportunity for stories like Heliostar and Ana Paula.
Super. When we will see, let's say, first project economics, I mean, resource estimate is one thing, but when we will see, let's say, a calculation where the future might be soon.
Correct. And so we've got a decision to make there. We'll definitely deliver the feasibility study by the end of next year. The question is, do we wrap this up in an updated PFS early next year? We haven't answered that question yet. It's a function of how much maybe success we can have in this step out drilling. So we'll decide that later this month. So we'll either have an updated PFS in the first quarter next year, or we'll definitely have a feasibility study at the end of next year.
Okay, super. Wow, that sounds like a real game plan, I would say. And of course, you have the money to do that all?
So that's the nice thing. We raised $7 million in beginning of July. So we've just ticked under $6 million in our treasury today. So we're still very well funded to deliver that. We're fortunate that we've had some very supportive shareholders.
Yeah, okay, super. And I saw also you have amended the purchase agreement with Argonaut Gold, and you have deferred the $2 million cash payment to 1st January 2025. So I presume that gives you the room to breathe to really deliver that all without losing the cash you need.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We enjoy a good relationship with Argonaut Gold. We also have optioned the San Antonio project off them. So we stay in regular contact, and there was some costs in that changeover in how you change over from one group running a business to run to the other group, some pro rata claim fees, and we accepted that it was reasonable that we covered those costs. And in return, we asked that it took a little longer to get the deal closed and the money raised, so we wanted to push that $2 million feasibility payment milestone out 6 months to the beginning of 2025. And in softer markets, it's always better to have a longer runway. So we don't have a trigger for a cash payment now till 2025.
Yeah, super. You named it already, San Antonio. What is going on there? Just leaving a bit Ana Paula now because everything is fine there. Are you doing anything on San Antonio and also on your other claims?
Yeah, so we're working quietly in the background on the permit for San Antonio. For those who don't know it, it's a 1.7 million ounce oxide heap leach project in Baja Sur, Mexico. It's either an incredibly valuable project with a permit or a very low value project without the permit. We've got 3 years to get that permit. So we're quietly working away in the background, and hopefully one day I'll ring you up, Jochen, and say surprise, because it'll be a huge value creation event for the company.
Absolutely. Super. Well, Charles, thank you very much for the update. That was absolutely perfect. And I think you are in fantastic shape. You have the money. The drills are turning already, and we can expect a lot of news until the end of the year, right?
Yeah, we're busy, and we'll continue to be busy. It's an exciting time at Ana Paula.
Super. Perfect. Charles, thank you very much. All the best. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Charles Funk, the CEO of Heliostar Metals, and you heard it. Everything is really moving at Ana Paula. They have the high-grade panel. They found another panel which has also high grades, and they are probably working with the new West Breccia on an additional panel. Maybe we will see. The new drill results will show that, but I would say the path is very, very clear. There will be much more strike lanes. It's super thick. It's 16 meters wide at Ana Paula. This is amazing. And really those grades are fantastic. Those are grades which are creating mines, and I think Charles and the team are doing a great job. You really should check out Heliostar. Thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Austria today.